Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
So we're a couple minutes late. Shep and I were just having a conversation with Todd, and I'm not going to go over the full conversation, but I'm going to go over part of the conversation because you know what's interesting about this? And I used to have this argument with our mutual friend, the late, great Tom Kowalski, okay? Killer used to tell me that he made all his fandom go away. He was no longer a fan. And I would laugh at him and say, bullshit.
Yeah.
There's a swear jar right off the bat. Let's just get that out of the way. And I used to, Shep, I used to tell him all the time that there is no way you can get the fan out of you. I believe both things can coexist. You can be a lifelong fan of a team and you can be objective about the team. Okay. And Lord knows objectivity is a lost art today. If
sure.
It listens to the media. Okay.
For sure.
But with that being said, Shep, Saturday night, I'm telling you point blank, I turned into 10-year-old Sean. And 10-year-old Sean stuck around a vast majority of yesterday and even into today. I'm not going to lie. I got kicked in my left abdomen.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how. Look, when you put as many years behind a certain team, you can't help it. So I don't disagree with that. I think everybody turns into a fan to a certain extent at one point. For some, it's a little bit earlier than others. Oh, there's a big 9-yard run right to start. That's not good. We've got to do a better job. All right, just relax. It's one play out of what could be about 72, so just relax. But I think it's okay for you to have been born and raised here and grown up here and covered as many teams and as many losses as you and I to have a little bit of that creep in, as long as we're objective as the game is progressing and admitting at the end Washington was the better team. I hope people can at least see that. Doesn't mean that we like it. It still pains me. Sean, it's always hard for us to say we were wrong.
Right.
And I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. I didn't see how Washington could score 45. I didn't see Detroit losing. So I was wrong. The thing that you have to move past, because you did a really nice job of talking about this and actually tweeting about this. Like Jeff Daniels' tweet is phenomenal. But the things that now it shifts. So it resonates with you Saturday and Sunday. Perhaps this morning you woke up and you're still pissed off as you walk into work or whatever. But now the lack of judgment and the lack of clear thinking really creeps into people because they feel like, now I know what we need and we've got to do this. Let's go draft Riley Leonard. Okay, hold on. Time out. Just relax for a moment. Ben Johnson's gone. We've got to go get Chip Kelly. Hold on. Time out a second. You know what I'm saying? That's where we're at, Sean. That's where we're at. And that's the beauty of football, isn't it? The beauty of football is this isn't going to last today. It's not going to last tomorrow. Sean, it's going to last all week and into next week and until the Super Bowl, because all Lions fans, yours truly, will think, how did we measure up against that team?
Right. That Shep, you know what's interesting about it is I came to this conclusion this morning, and I don't know if you agree with this or not. I was of the opinion, I think you and I have talked about it most of the year, and I know I've talked about it with some of the guys in here. I was of the opinion, I honestly believe that Kansas City is on a collision course for 3 straight. And we're going to have to deal with that. And, forget Jerry West in the NBA. They're just going to put Patrick Mahomes' face behind the NFL logo. Okay. So all jokes aside, I did feel that way. However, I felt that the Lions, even with the injuries, if they could lock up number 1, give themselves an opportunity to play at Ford Field, they might just be able to punch that ticket to the Super Bowl. Okay. And today, you know what I think we're all guilty of? I'm calling me out. I don't know if you are. We knew, but we didn't want to know. You cannot absorb that many injuries. You cannot absorb that many injuries on the defensive side of the ball. It defies logic. It defies reason. And so maybe I'm trying to make myself feel better. We knew, but we didn't want to know. Did you?
I didn't.
Vibe?
No,
Okay.
not me. Look, oftentimes I look at things and I say, who's the better team?
Mm-hmm.
I thought Minnesota was better than Washington. This is before they played their first round playoff game. All right. But I thought Minnesota was better than Washington. I thought Detroit beating them. I look at the teams Detroit beat. I mean, we can look back. They've been playing shorthanded on the defensive side for a long time. That team proves something to me that they were able to do that. And before people start to chime in on the comments and say, yeah, but look at all those, those mobile quarterbacks, Shep. You know that always gives us problems. Okay. How'd they do against Kyler Murray? How'd they do against Baker Mayfield? I know they lost to Tampa, but Baker Mayfield didn't have a great game. All right. How'd they do against Caleb Williams? How'd they do against Geno Smith? How'd they do against Anthony Richardson? I understand they're maybe not as talented as Jaden Daniels. My point is, stop with the mobile quarterback stuff. They lost to Josh Allen. A lot of teams lose to Josh Allen. All right. That wasn't Jaden Daniels was phenomenal. I don't think his mobility or his mobileness as a quarterback was the reason they lost. You can't turn the damn football over as often as they did. Exactly. And that's the primary reason they lost. Why did Baltimore lose to Buffalo? The turnovers. It's a theme, and it takes away. I'm not taking anything away from Washington. If you're better than that team, what is the equalizer? Even if it's this close, turnovers.
Shep, I swear to God, I love you as a human being, but I love you as an analyst, because I have been fighting this fight for almost 48 hours. Okay. I get it. The defense wasn't good. I get it. Jaden Daniels was an assassin. All of that is true. Okay. There are things that we knew, and there are things that we did not know. We knew that this defense was banged up. We knew that Jaden Daniels could be an assassin. Do you know what we didn't know? That this team was going to take out that 45 and point it right at their foot and shoot themselves in the foot multiple times.
That's right.
That's what we didn't know. Right? And
Why don't we learn?
Don't let the offense off the hook. You can't make turnovers in the playoff.
Agreed. But why don't, and I'm as much to blame as anybody, why don't we learn? Like, everybody's talking about home field advantage. The one seed's so important because you got to have home field advantage. I think it's important, but it's not the be-all, end-all. And I ask people this all the time. Why? Washington was not intimidated by Ford Field. I don't think the Rams were intimidated in Philly. I thought they played them pretty damn good, right? When you're this good, I don't think it matters if you're on the road or if you're at home. Detroit jumped out to a huge lead in San Francisco. Green Bay beat Dallas. Kansas City went into Baltimore and beat them. It happens. I want to get to that area where I'm one of those teams in the playoffs, and if my team's good enough, I think they can win on the road or at home. And by the way, all 3 losses this year to playoff teams and all 3 losses at home. I don't care. I care about how the team is playing, and they didn't play well enough because of all this.
Let's very quickly talk about Lindsey Broadwell, because we are going to try to speed through this because I know everybody wants to watch the Natty.
Then we're going to get to Ben Johnson. Then we got the national championship game. Then we're out.
215 days until college football season started. Okay. Not that I'm counting, but it's 215 days until college football season. When it comes time to getting yourself a new house, whether you're buying, selling, or both, contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? That lady right there. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. So when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, it doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. I'm going to try to blow through these. Good evening, Matt and Sean. Always a pleasure. Tom in London. Oops, we saw pass to 17 for 38 yards. We're okay. Jason asks, is the head coaching job in Chicago actually a better job than the OC in Detroit right now? My buddy David, college football elite. said going to be a good night tonight to end college football, taking OSU by 15. As much as I hate them, they're the top team this year. And Skydog said, no, Sean, Ryan Day, here it comes. Unreasonable expectations for a lot of us from the Lions. The injuries are bad, but the turnovers in the game are the worst. Shep?
Why were they unreasonable, do you think?
I think once the injuries happen. Once the injuries happen.
I see. Okay, I got
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shep, you know what's interesting too, to me, and I use this line, I felt Washington outlying the Lions because the Lions were this close to doing what they do. In my mind, when they had the 3rd and 1 and decided on the empty set, which whatever, I thought they were that close to taking the game by the throat. You go up 14-3, that's a different football game, period. All of a sudden, it's Washington that has to catch up. All of a sudden, you can run on that defense that is begging you to run on them at will and control the ball. There's so many different, when it's a 14-3 game, you turn the ball over there, they go down the field and score, game flipped. I mean,
I think you're 100% right there, Sean. My son got really mad. He went to the game and he came home and he was livid. And he said he didn't understand it. I said, my guess is, he's like, we've been running with Jahmyr Gibbs. I said, I get it. And I'm not agreeing with the call, but can we just remind ourselves that if they run Jahmyr Gibbs and he doesn't get it, everyone's going, this is all you've been doing. Of course, they're going to be playing the run. There's nothing wrong with a different call. Plus, I think they would have gone for it on 4th down anyway, 4th and 1.
Yeah.
So it's the turnover. It's the decision making more than anything else. Somebody said that Aaron Glenn's got an issue against read quarterbacks. Again, I'll bring up some of the guys. I'm not going to sit there and try and defend Aaron Glenn. It was a bad day for the defense. But I mean, Kyler Murray's like 207. Is that what he did against Detroit? And 40 yards. CJ Stroud 240, and he rushed for 5. Maybe that's a bad example if you don't think he's the read option kind of guy. I think there's a lot of read option quarterbacks, and Detroit's handled all of them pretty well, except for Josh Allen, and obviously except for Jaden Daniels. Again, who Jaden Daniels has done that a lot. I did not give Washington nearly enough credit offensively than I should have.
No question. Allen said yes, but Baltimore had 3 turnovers, held them to 27 points. We had 0 turnovers against Buffalo. They dropped 50 on us. Goff deserves blame, but the defense has been abysmal, not even NFL level. I think there's a couple things that come into play here. Number one, I'll repeat what I said earlier. We knew what the defense was. You take out all those pieces, and key pieces, I might add. Yeah. Arguably defensive player of the year. Yeah. In Aiden Hutchinson, not to mention all the other ones. Yeah. We knew what the defense was. They surprised us a couple times. They surprised us against Minnesota, for example, 262 yards and only 9 points against. But what we didn't know is that this offense would be as ugly as it was. And Shep, I hate to simplify it, but that's really what it was. This defense wasn't going to go in the playoff and win you a lot of games, okay? The key was to keep you in the game and keep you within shooting distance so your offense can do what your offense does. And the offense didn't do what the offense does.
Yeah, the pick 6, so that's not on the defense. And then the short field. I mean, how about the short field on the fumble?
21 points off of turnovers. Yep.
So there you go. I mean, I'm not making an excuse for the defense. I've already said it. I don't think they were great, but I do believe like you said, it needs everybody can share in the blame, right?
Sure. Yep. Let me get to very quickly Wealth Advantage. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those 2 handsome fellows right there, the brothers Husak, with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. And that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell your company, you're already in retirement, doesn't matter. These guys can help guide you through every step of your financial journey like they've done for so many people, including my family. I mean, after all, they work with clients throughout all stages of life, and they have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one, so if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep,
here's a good one, Sean. Here's a good one here.
Okay.
Here's one in the comment section. from Nick. Campbell brings in Ben, and he goes to a division rival. I don't think Ben Johnson owes it to the Lions not to go to a division rival. Do you? I mean, go someplace where you think you're going to win, and we've got some weapons. I thought Chicago. I've said this all year long. Depending on as soon as Matt Eberflus got fired, Thanksgiving, I said that's a perfect spot for Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
he's got a young quarterback, right? He's got 3 outstanding receivers, and he's got a really good running back. He's got to fix the offensive line. His defense isn't too bad. I think it's a really good spot.
That offensive line's a mess, Shep. It's a mess.
So you address that in the draft and maybe some free agency. I think it's a really good spot for him. I don't blame him for taking that. Do you?
I don't, Shep. I've had this discussion all afternoon. Okay, like I'm not. Congratulations. I'm serious. Yeah. This is a guy that earned a head coaching job. Yeah. For me, what I'm pissed at is the where. Like I hate the Bears. Like, and this is child Sean. Remember, 10-year-old Sean showed up again. Yeah. Yeah. I hate the Bears. Like I hate the Bears. So I've known Joik Bell for a while. When Joik Bell went to the Bears, I was like, hey man, nice rooting for you for the last 10 years. You can go to hell now. You're a Bear. Like that's my angle with it. But it's funny. We were talking about this a couple days ago. This is what happens when you have success. And obviously the Lions haven't got to the point of Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys. But if you remember 1 year, Chicago went and plucked Dave Wannstedt. Mm-hmm. And the year after, Troy Aikman begged Norv Turner to stay for one more year. Norv Turner stayed one more year, and then where did he go? Their biggest rival, the Washington Redskins. So it's amazing how that works out. But
it's okay, man. I mean,
a lot.
Except if I'm Ben Johnson, look, nobody all year long did people say, good for you, Ben. You didn't go to Tennessee. Good for you, Ben. You didn't go to Washington.
Yeah.
It's not like people are patting him on the back. Now you're going to sit there and rip on him because he goes to a really good situation in Chicago. It happens to be the division rival. Look, I'm going to root for him outside of the 2 games against Detroit. I don't have any problem with him going there whatsoever. He's earned it. Tom says AG defense has continually struggled against mobile quarterbacks. I just gave you all the examples of mobile quarterbacks who Detroit did a really good job against this year, but that must not have been enough. I love what Nick writes here. I question playing Montgomery like they did. He was not 100%. Gibbs was on fire. I agree with that. I thought that was evident about David Montgomery. I did not like his very first carry. I just didn't see him popping the hole as hard as he usually does.
Shep, I know they're huge with David Montgomery, set the tempo. That's kind of been their calling card, but that should have been it. I mean, Gibbs is – I even said this, at the risk of sounding like a complete homer, I think he's one of the most explosive backs in the league now.
Agreed.
Not what he's going to be now, today,
Who's he remind you of? Chris Johnson.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a Nick, I question playing Montgomery like they did. He was not 100%. 17 points off of turnovers, and the defense was what it was. 16 on IR. See you next year and more Jeff Daniels songs.
What about Jeff? Jeff says that door closed quick. I don't think the door's closed at all.
I don't believe that for a second.
First of all, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I really don't. I think really good organizations, no matter the team, will have that door wide open. For some, it might be a little dog's in and out door. Others, it might be a regular door. Some, it might be a window. And some, it may be a garage door. Team like the Patriots, the great Niners teams, the great Giants teams, the Indianapolis Colts to a certain extent. The door was still plenty wide open. Doesn't mean you always have to kick it in and win it, but the door is still plenty wide open. Baseball, when's that Dodgers door going to close?
No.
Sign another free agent, okay? I don't believe in that. If you've got a well-run organization, and I think the Lions do, I think that door remains open as long as they can fill the voids that are going to be left by certain key guys and whether or not they're coming back. Do you think Zeitler comes back? Do you think guys like Derek Barnes comes back? Do you think guys like Carlton Davis comes back? Do you think Graham Glasgow comes back? Those are all huge off-season questions that we'll figure out whether or not the door is open or not.
And I'm going to remind everybody, one constant remains. You have a brilliant general manager in Brad.
Yeah.
You really do. And Shep, I will say this, and you probably know this, and my guess is you probably know who I'm talking about. I remember talking to some of the Lions, and if you think real hard, you can figure out who I talked to. that said back in 2014 they knew that the window was open that wide. They just knew it. They knew that the window was open that wide, and they kind of looked at that as their chance. And obviously they didn't jump through the window. We know what happened in Dallas and everything. I think sometimes the guys maybe have a better feel than we in the media and fans do. I think they know, okay, this is different. This is a championship type of situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and yes, they do have a better feel for it than we do. We have a lot of people in the media who just don't think quite clearly. You mentioned something, and I'm not going to disagree with you because you know how I feel about Brad Holmes. I think he's fantastic. But when you say, he's brilliant, this year's draft class, Sean.
Fair.
Maybe we've been spoiled.
Fair.
I like Terrion Arnold. I think he's going to be a good player. Friend of yours and mine, Rob Rubik, told me, I said, what about all these PIs? He goes, here's the thing. He's there. He's there with the receiver. He's not getting blown by. He gets a little handsy, and they're going to call that. You can adjust to that. He said Alabama teaches their corners to be handsy. So he says, go ahead and keep being handsy until you get caught. But at least he's turning and burning with the receiver. He's usually close by. He's not getting burned left and right. He thinks he's going to be fine. What about the rest? I didn't see a lot of contributions, and maybe that's a good thing because this team is all set, and maybe there wasn't room for those. But before I give, and I hope everybody does this with this draft class, some of these guys are going to have to elevate their play next year. There's no question.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I will never deviate from this because I've seen it both ways. Guys trying to put people in the Hall of Fame early and everything. I think you got to give a good couple years before we get a good read. Good, bad, and indifferent, right? 100%. Yeah. That's the way. I'm not ready to say, oh, it was a failure or anything. But again, as we sit here right now, these weren't guys that came in and wowed you, if that makes sense.
No, I would say this: if a guy like Terrion Arnold is starting right away, and he did, then that tells you something. That means he's pretty damn good, and I feel good with him as a starting corner next year. Everybody else, definitely take a wait and see him, and hoping that it gets a lot better than what we saw this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Drafting Arnold over Mikey wasn't the brightest of ideas. Nick said, what burned me today? Bears fans celebrating like crazy over getting Ben Johnson. They need something. They need something to latch onto. That's such a slappy fan base. I mean, we're not that far removed from another fan base. And by the way, non-fans of the Bears falling for the yearly trick of Hard Knocks. Shep, it is one of the most fascinating things for me. This is a made-for-television show. And, man, we better look out for this Jets team. The fuck? What are you watching? They made a soap opera for you. What? Oh, this Bears team. Yes, because rookie quarterbacks come in and usually excel. Jaden Daniels is an exception. Like, knock it off. By the way, rookie quarterbacks with no offensive line. But somebody will fall for it. And I don't even know who's on Hard Knocks next year, but somebody's going to fall for it.
Well, it's going to be a lot of different teams, right? They have one in the offseason. They have one they have one in the preseason, and then they have an entire division during the season. I think it's brilliant, but I understand exactly what you're saying because you're 100% right. Yeah. Can you help me with this though? Drafting Arnold over Mikey wasn't the brightest of ideas. What are they referring to?
I think from Michigan. I think that's what they're. I think that's
Sanders still.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying.
Well, okay.
I don't think that Arnold was as bad as people made it out to be. I just don't. Sorry. Was he great? No. I think it's difficult. I know Mikey struggled at times as well. I read some PFF things on him, especially in man coverage. But Shep, I've heard guys that follow this game a lot closer than I do, guys that actually play it, say corner is just about the most difficult position. You are on an island, you're by yourself, and it's just very difficult for young cornerbacks in this league.
Yeah, it's the second hardest, I've been told, talking to scouts as much as I have over the years, it's the second hardest position to adjust to at the NFL level. Number one is quarterback. Number two is cornerback. The only problem I have with that summation, taking him over Mikey, is that Sanderstill was drafted in the second round, right? So there's a lot of teams that passed over Mikey Sanderstill as a cornerback. I don't know if there was a corner taken in between. There was. Who's the kid from Clemson? Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins.
Okay.
Nate Wiggins was drafted by Baltimore ahead of Mikey Sanderstill too. So, and there were others. Who's the kid that everybody had going to Detroit? Kool-Aid McKinstry. Do you remember him from Alabama?
Kool-Aid McKinstry, yes.
So he was drafted ahead of Mikey Sanderstill. I like Mikey Sanderstill. I think it helps to have played wide receiver like he did at Michigan. He's got great instincts. I think Terrion Arnold's going to be a good player. I don't have any problem with that draft pick.
Alan brings up Darius Slay didn't have a great rookie season either. People killed Darius Slay. Good call, Alan. I remember people killed Darius Slay.
Yeah.
What's that?
Here's the difference, though, and I'm not saying they're wrong because you're 100% right. But I was calling the preseason games and I was traveling with the team at the time. Darius Slay at Mississippi State was a man-to-man guy. When he came to Detroit, he was flooded with zone concepts that he didn't fully understand. It was not his strength. The time when he took off, watch him. He's mostly man-to-man. When he can play man, he's great. And he is. He's one of the best cornerbacks of his era. I mean, I don't know how people deny that. It was different, though. I overheard some conversations about his man coverage compared to his zone coverage and the struggles they had in zone. They finally figured it out. And by that time, then, Numbnuts comes in and he gets them all pissed off and ships them off, which is ridiculous.
Very quickly, let me tell you about Legacy. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents, and they provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Guys, I'm serious. We did it. It worked for us. You need to call my friends at Legacy because they help you by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get you the right coverage put in place to properly protect you. Yes, of course, help save you some money. Chances are, like me, you haven't checked your policies in the last year. And if that's the case, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes.
All right, last one, Sean. Last one regarding the Lions. Jimmy says, I'm amazed at how many people get hypnotized with coordinators. I am too. Where do you go if it's not a coordinator? Where are you supposed to go? So if people don't think Ben Johnson, I'm not saying anybody on the thread did, but I mean, I had somebody tell me the other day, last Friday, just because Ben Johnson's a really good offensive coordinator doesn't mean he's going to be a really good head coach. And I said, absolutely. I don't think anybody's suggesting that. My question is, why doesn't he deserve the chance? If you believe in, moving your way up the corporate ladder, this is corporate football. He's an offensive coordinator. What's the next step? The next step is being a head coach. He deserves that shot, right?
Isn't it funny? We brought up the Jimmy Johnson tree. How'd that work out for Dave Wannstedt and Norv Turner? Right?
Both got multiple shots, though, doing it.
Yeah, and Norv Turner actually had some regular season success with the Chargers, but never any postseason. And Wannstedt was just a disaster. Let's be honest. Yeah. So it is funny how that works itself out. Austin said, I've never been so unexcited for a national championship. F both these schools. Listen, you guys, I love it. I'm not going to lie. Shep, I think you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to bring it up yet again. We've cried for years, settle it on the field. Yep. These are two teams that settled it on the field. Here we are.
All right, so who do you like tonight before we say goodbye?
Ohio State, which means I'm dead wrong, but I like Ohio State. I think they have too much offense. I think they have a freak as a wide receiver. You give all the credit in the world. The one is just I think you give all the credit in the world to Freeman and this team for getting to this point, but I think like those times under BK, they're going to fall short.
Do they cover? Does Ohio State cover? What is it? 9.5?
What was the latest line?
9.5? Was it?
9.5?
Or is
Yeah.
it 8.5? I know the Lions were 8.5. I thought it was 9.5.
Yeah. How's that? Yeah.
You think they'll cover?
Yes. I think a couple touchdowns, like 31-17, something like that. 28.
That's not a good national championship game, is it?
No, I don't think so. But Shep, again, to me, this is what we've cried about for years in college football. Settle it on the field. Settle it on the field.
Yeah. If Notre Dame can't run the ball to chew up some clock, I think they got to make it a short game. So if they can't run the ball, they're dead.
Yep. All right, Shep, always a pleasure. You want to do it again?
Great to be with you, as always.
We're going to go watch a game, but first, let me tell you about All About Catering. All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. Rick and the gang at All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today. See all their menus and their 5-star reviews. They've done a few meals for me. They'll do the same for you. Call 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Enjoy the game. 215 days until the new college football season starts. It also happens to be a holy day where I live. The cider mill opens that same day. Shep, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you Thursday. Todd, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Keep up alive.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.